What's up guys, welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/StoriesAboutKevin. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. This story's called, Kevin is a Master of Day-to-Day Life, Volume 2. Well, some people, okay, maybe just user Uldra, asked for another part of Kevin's mischiefs. Part 1 is just called Kevin is a Master of Politics and is riddled with spelling errors. And of course, I can't let my only fan down. Quick side note, I actually read that story a while back on Voicey here, so yeah, check it out. As I made clear in the previous post, my Kevin is not really educated and gets most of his information from Facebook posts or other stuff, and in general has not always the best of ideas. Today I will focus more on stories out of day-to-day life and just a few anecdotes from his political mastermind. This time with less spelling errors or not, the comment section will judge me. First of all, some short ones. Kevin once heard you can clean up vomit stains in a toilet with red wine. Don't ask me where he got this, I never heard it myself. The moron tried to clean out my toilet with my red wine, literally 200 euros down the drain. When Kevin is at my house, I lock my wine away. Kevin got really wasted once and on the way home fell over. He didn't know where he was, so he called some friends to pick him up, which turned out to be somewhat of a difficult task. When they asked him to describe his surroundings, he just told them over and over he can see the moon and the stars. They found him laying in front of his house. It was summer, so he was not in danger of freezing to death. He thought he could lift the maypole on his own. The maypole is a decorated tree trunk, around 20 to 40 meters in height and definitely too heavy to be lifted by one single man. Well, he dropped the thing off its poles and destroyed the ornaments. The May festival was delayed by a month so they could replace the damage. He once broke his foot by playing football. Nothing interesting, just a casual accident, but didn't want to miss any parties. Since walking was too exhausting, he decided to drive around with his scooter. At this time we were in 9th grade, around 16 years old. Well, it turns out it is quite difficult to drive with a plastered foot, and he crashed and broke the same foot twice. When the plaster was removed, he was ordered by the doctor to relax the foot for a few weeks and don't move too much. So Kevin fired up his scooter, crashed, and broke his foot again. While on holiday in northern Italy, he suddenly was convinced he could actually speak Italian, while in reality, he just pronounced every single German word in a stereotypical Italian accent. First, we thought it was a joke, but he did this for 3 days straight. He would just walk up to some poor salesman in a store and ask him, "Where is the spaghetti?" or casually ask strangers for directions. Maybe it was a joke, but he clearly missed the point when it stopped being funny. As an expert for beer, Kevin wanted to brew his own one. He forgot the brewing kit with the beer in his garage while he went climbing in Peru for a month midsummer. The walls of his garage are still sprayed with the exploded beer, and it still smells like rotten vinegar after 4 years. Kevin sometimes tells us about his newest sexual adventures. They all sound completely mad. A few months after I started a new job, a coworker introduced me to the podcast. My dad wrote a video of an adult variety. If you don't know it, what the hell are you doing here reading this garbage? Go listen to this podcast! And I realized that Kevin's sex stories are literally just slightly altered episodes from this podcast. So yeah, Kevin thought the completely obscure sex stories from Belinda Blinked are somewhat believable. To this day, he denies knowing the podcast or the book. In school, he tried multiple times to convince teachers he is not smoking a cigarette, with the cigarette either still burning in his hand hidden behind his back or in front of him on the floor. The really surreal thing about this story is that it worked once. Probably because the teacher was too stunned by this mad lad Kevin and just walked away. After Kevin finished job training, he claimed to have a scholarship for one of the most renowned tech universities in Germany. Some friends of mine studied economies at this university at the time, and nobody really knew why Kevin made this ridiculous claim, and we thought he just made it up to be the center of attention for the evening. After some time arguing how he actually managed to get a full scholarship despite being completely unqualified, he didn't even have the required graduation. He proudly showed us the letter with the scholarship. It was an invitation to one guest lecture for the graduates for the job training for accountants in our state. This happened literally the last night. We had a grill party, and we have currently around 38 degrees Celsius in Germany, and it is unbearably hot. So Kevin thought he could quickly install an air conditioning unit in his house. We were having the barbecue at a friend's garden, but wanted to go to Kevin's afterwards since he has a cool party room in his basement. He and another friend left early and went to his house to install the unit he apparently just bought this morning. Didn't help that his friend is also not the brightest and often encourages Kevin to his stupid deeds. So around 10 p.m., we arrived at Kevin's and, well, there was no air conditioner. Just a huge hole in the upper basement wall, a lot of debris, and since the light was burning bright, a lot of mosquitoes. Turned out, Kevin just ordered an air conditioner, and for some reason he expected the delivery on a Friday night. So he thought it would be a good idea to prepare the hole in the wall. So now Kevin will have a hole in his basement for a week or so, since the thing gets delivered next Wednesday. And two longer stories to round it all up. Kevin lived for a long time with his parents, not because he couldn't afford to move out, but rather because his parents were about to move out when his father got his pension. Also, he was not very good at taking care of a house by himself. So like 3 years before his parents moved out, and 5 years after we have graduated from secondary school, Realschule in German, he wanted some free space from his parents and decided to build a cabin in his parents' garden. The thing, when finished, had around 48 square meters, 2 stories, heating, a real bathroom, and kitchen for around 28,000 euros. Cost for construction or paperwork not included. We didn't really question this plan, since Kevin tends to talk a lot, but in the end often does jack crap. But this time, he was determined. He actually knew he needed a building permission from local authorities and actually went to the offices and sought a building permission and told us this was a safe thing and bought the materials for around 20k at the beginning of winter. So over winter, all the stuff was stored in a rented storage facility, and when spring came, the authorities denied his permission and Kevin sat on 20,000 worth of materials. Kevin somehow managed to get a refund, he still lost about 12,000, and was the next month busy starting a petition to overthrow German construction authorities. The thing never went online, so to this day, the general German population is repressed by mean construction regulations. Once we were on a ski trip in the mountains, and since Kevin is actually quite agile in the mountains, he is an excellent climber and skier, one of his actual talents. We got up on the mountain, planned our route, and agreed to stop on every crossing to make sure nobody gets lost. It's really hard to find someone or your group again in the German Alps, since phone reception utterly sucks in this part of Germany. Kevin, as the best skier of our group, quickly took the lead and rushed down the track. When I reached the first crossing on a ski track, nobody knew where Kevin was. He definitely had saw the crossing and for some reason had decided not to wait. But since we had planned the route in advance, we just continued and hoped we would pick up Kevin somewhere. Well, we reached the end of our planned route and he was nowhere to be seen. So we tried to reach him via smartphone, and through awful cracking noises from the bad reception, he told us he was at lift number 5. On the other side of the freaking ski resort, thinking we all were right behind him for half an hour. We agreed on a meeting point on top of the mountain, but when we reached the place, Kevin was not there. So we called him again and found out he was still waiting at lift 5 in the valley. So we drove down there and still no Kevin. He claimed he was still at the lift, but we couldn't find him, and when we asked to describe the lift, he described a completely different location. Well, to make a long story short, we searched for him, and this unmapped Lift 5, since it was not the lift in the valley, turned out to be the Lift 8 nearby our parking lot. He didn't wear his glasses. The freaking idiot drove without his glasses, half blind, so he couldn't read the correct number and didn't bother to ask anyone else where he was or told us the parking lot was right next to him. He was pissed that we had left him alone. Okay, this Kevin is ridiculous, but you should really be careful with the ski resort signs because you can get yourself in a hairy situation. Yeah, bad idea. Just get this man away from civilization. Just put him on top of a mountain, okay? He's obviously really good at skiing, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia taught me about mountain rules, so he should thrive up there. This story's called Just Realized I Work with a Kavina, and it sucks. Today, it hit me. I work with a Kavina. This woman is not someone who does stupid crap some of the time and is otherwise a normal, rational human being. No, she is a true Kavina. One of my coworkers pointed out that she would qualify as a female Steve Urkel, complete with the annoying voice and laugh. I have so many stories, but don't have the time or patience to list them all here. So, the following is a highlight reel of the crap that she has pulled. So, where we work as medical coders, we all use Microsoft Excel as part of our job. This is just the way that our facility does things. Due to the volume of cases that were being seen by our providers at one facility, our boss said to save time, only verify that a progress note has been written and put down the evaluation or management code that the provider gives you and move on to the next patient. This sounds simple and really difficult to mess up, right? Ha! She manages to screw this up constantly. How? I do not know, but she does. My poor coworkers who get texts from her on a regular basis about changes that get made want to strangle her at this point, mainly because her texts are convoluted and messy, containing way too much irrelevant data with not enough relevant data. The other day, she wanted to make some eggs for herself in our company microwave. Now, considering this is Kavina we are talking about, this is a disaster in the making. She decided to make the eggs in a small mug. The eggs exploded, so now the entire office smells like undercooked eggs. We are in a small space, open office plan, so if someone brings anything in that smells, everyone will be smelling it. So now, in addition to being unable to cook eggs in a microwave correctly, she does not clean up her mess properly. Just a quick swipe with a dry paper towel and back to her desk with her undercooked eggs she goes. The microwave was not cleaned properly by her, so when the next person used the microwave, the office started smelling of eggs again. One coworker, whose job does not include cleaning, had to clean it up during the day and he gave it a good cleaning. Another coworker, whose job also does not include cleaning, had to go over and get some Clorox wipes from our supervisor to clean the counter and Keurig machine that is right there. Our cleaning crew, who comes in after we leave, had to deep clean the microwave by scrubbing it down with Clorox wipes, wiping that up with clean water and microwaving a wet paper towel to get rid of the odor of eggs because it was baked into the microwave that badly. She got into a minor fender bender in the morning on her way to work a couple of days ago. What she says happened is that she was stopped at a red light and the person who was in front of her backed up and hit her. She claims that she normally stops at least a car length behind people, and the one time she doesn't, she gets hit. Oh, and the way she was describing it, she made it seem that the entire front of her car was gone or her car was totaled. You can barely see a scratch on her car. I know this one is not particularly Kevin-like, but it is more of a demonstration of her personality. And she is now claiming that she needs to get her car fixed this week during a pandemic. I, and another coworker, think she is trying to subtly change her schedule so she won't have to work alone. This is a new development and I don't know what I am going to do. She got a part-time job first as a Burger King manager. Within 2 weeks, she got fired from Burger King. Then she got a part-time job with Pizza Hut as a delivery driver. Within 2 weeks, she got fired. Again, no idea what she did to get fired, but she did from fast food. She has gotten catfished by scammers. I believe that she is up to number 3 or 4 right now. See, she was married and recently divorced. That is a whole other drama, but the point is, she is lonely and wants to get married again. The issue is that she is using online dating sites like Plenty of Fish and OkCupid and not vetting any of the guys that she meets on there. She has sent money to these guys, even with all her coworkers saying, "You are being scammed." She keeps going, "Well, I don't know. I really love him and I know he loves me," etc., etc. The most recent one, she went to the airport to meet him at 11 at night. This is a guy she has been talking to on the phone for 2 to 3 months. Not FaceTiming or video chatting with, just talking. Fortunately for her, physical well-being at least, he did not show up at the airport because he missed his flight because he was drunk. She still refused to believe that he was a scammer until he asked her for money. We think she still doesn't believe he's a scammer. She forgot our work address, a location that she has been working for close to a year, an address that she has in her phone, a phone that she has not replaced. She couldn't figure out how to Google the address apparently, so she asked me and another coworker for the address. The other coworker told her, and the response, "Are you sure?" She was proud of herself for getting toilet paper last week. Why she felt the need to go out and buy it and then brag not only to her coworkers but our boss? This was in response to the insane toilet paper shortage in the US right now. I don't think she even needed it. Toilet paper hoarders, ridiculous. Are you guys still having any shortages of any kind where you guys live? Because as far as I know, I think things are fine in the Woodlands, Texas. If not, and you're from here, which I know some of you guys are, tell me how things are in terms of craziness. Because by now, I think the world's more or less adjusted to how things are. But anyways, this Kevina, yeah, she's a dummy head. And there's not much left to say about her, other than the fact that she is indeed a dummy head. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.